Vice-Chancellor, Lord Bishop, Sheriff of Chester, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Esther Rantzen was born in Berkhamsted in Hertfordshire in 1940 and graduated from Somerville College, Oxford, with a degree in English. While at university, she performed and directed in theatre, cabaret, and revue, as well as developing an interest in theatre lighting. This at the height of the late 1950s and early 60s satire boom. Her father was a senior BBC engineer who took a dim view of performers. So Esther decided to join the BBC as a sound effects assistant in radio, then became a researcher in television, and in 1968 became a researcher reporter for Bernard Braden's consumer program, Braden's Week. Her own childhood memory of television is that the family kept the television in the hallway so it wouldn't destroy conversation, and the newspaper delivery boy used to watch it through the letterbox. When Bernard Braden went back to Canada in 1973, Esther became the producer-presenter of the consumer program That's Life, which ran for 21 years and drew audiences of over 18 million. It achieved fame and some notoriety for its talking dogs, Jobsworth Awards, and campaigns on behalf of abused children, organ transplants, safe playgrounds, hospital patients, and to provide justice for consumers. She also created the documentary series The Big Time, which discovered the singer Sheena Easton, invented the Children of Courage segment of Children in Need, and Hearts of Gold, which ran for 7 years, honouring unsung heroes and heroines. For 7 years, she presented her daily talk show Esther on BBC Two and That's Esther on ITV with co-presenters Laura Masters and Heather Mills. She's made a number of pioneering programmes on childbirth, mental health, drug abuse and child abuse in the campaigning series of programmes Childwatch. In 1986, she invented the concept of Childline, the children's helpline, which was launched on Childwatch, which she then chaired for 20 years. She's currently president of Childline, is a trained volunteer counsellor, and is a trustee of the NSPCC since its merger with Childline in 2005. In 2011, she published her book, Running Out of Tears, to celebrate Childline's 25th anniversary. She is a patron of a number of other charities, including the Red Balloon to recover bullied children, and she helped to found the Association of Young People with ME, of which she is president. She's now invented the concept of a new helpline for older people, the Silver Line, which launched in November 2013. Esther is founder, president, and a trustee of the organisation, which provides advice, information, and a befriending service, and has already received more than 250,000 calls in the first 11 months of operation. She has received a number of awards, including the OBE for services to broadcasting and the CBE for services to children. She received the Royal Television Society's Special Judges Award for Journalism and was received into their Hall of Fame. In addition, she received the Dimbleby Award from BAFTA, incidentally the first woman to receive it, the Lifetime Achievement Award from Women in Film and Television, the Snowden Award for Services to Disabled People, and has been made an Honorary Fellow of Somerville College. She has appeared in Strictly Come Dancing for the BBC and The Jungle for ITV. Recently, she stood at the 2010 general election as an independent candidate for Luton South. More recently, she appeared with Patsy Kensit on a celebrity edition of the television quiz show Chase. Having been persuaded to gamble by her teammates, she and Patsy raised £15,000 for Childline and £15,000 for Silverline. And she tells me that her 2-year-old grandson, Benjamin, is currently transforming her life. Vice-Chancellor, in recognition of her outstanding contribution to British media through journalism, television, and presenting work, and her extensive charity work. In the name of the Council and of the Senate, I present to you for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, in this university, Esther Rantzen, OBE, CBE.
By virtue of the authority invested in me, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, in this university. Well done. It gives me great pleasure to invite Dr. Esther Rantzen to address the congregation.
Vice-Chancellor, distinguished fellow graduates, friends, I take my hat off to you. Congratulations on this very, very important day. The President of the University Council asked me what connection I have with Chester. I've actually got two. One is that I know some of the students here have been volunteering for the Childline Base in Prestatyn, listening to children, and I want to thank you. The other one had momentarily slipped my mind. It happened about 20 years ago. I had made a documentary in London Zoo, and during our time filming, a black rhino was born. I should tell you that black rhinos are exceptionally bad-tempered, even from birth. But I decided to take it as a tribute that the baby rhino was named Esther Rantzen, even when it mashed my leg against one of the zoo railings. As she grew, and she grew quite large, she changed location, and she actually was taken to Chester Zoo. Sadly, I didn't visit her there. But I think it was through some misunderstanding, when I was 54, that the newspapers got hold of the story that Esther Rantzen was pregnant. My husband thought some kind of miracle had occurred. But it was more of a miracle than he knew, because the father was Michael Parkinson, who'd had a vasectomy. So the first gobbet of wisdom that I pass on to you, because that's what we do, we honorary doctors, is please don't believe everything you read in the newspaper. However, the first link I have with Chester is the one that's close to my heart, because Childline, as some of you will know, has been an absolutely passionate cause for me since it was founded almost exactly 28 years ago at the end of October in 1986. And since then, it has helped 3.5 million children. But that's just a statistic. And I wanted to know whether it had actually made a difference to these young people's lives. Children and young people who were ringing Childline because they literally had no one else they could talk to about abuse or neglect or being bullied, or now, as you've heard, thoughts that life isn't worth living, suicidal thoughts, eating disorders, self-harm, and many other problems. So the first thing I did was write the book that the orator has spoken to you of, Running Out of Tears, which was a series of interviews with young adults who told me they'd rung Childline when they were children. And I just want to tell you that they said Childline had totally transformed their lives because it had given them hope. And hope is what makes us get up in the morning. Because someone at Childline, it may be students from this university, have said, you know, this isn't your fault. You're not to blame for what's happening to you. And together we can change things for the better. And they said that message, and then the subsequent facts where we were able to work and improve their lives, their quality of life, had made all the difference. And I can tell you that those young adults were a social worker, a teacher, a nurse, someone who worked with disabled children, somebody who worked in prisons for survivors of abuse, someone who'd set up a charity for abuse survivors. And my daughter summed it up when she said, "Saved children save other children." I have actually, as a now Doctor of Letters, brought with me some letters because I thought that would be appropriate. And one of them was from a girl who said, "Because of Childline, I've managed to get the support I need through the difficult things that have happened. Childline is a fantastic service. And without you, it wouldn't exist," meaning children and young people would have to face problems on their own. So a massive thank you from me to all Childline staff from all UK's young people. But as you've heard, last November, I decided to use the experience I've gained from Childline, the knowledge that a telephone line can liberate people, talking to a stranger, talking anonymously, feeling safe, knowing that the service is confidential. I thought that maybe it would also work for older people who might also be suffering abuse or neglect or simply be utterly alone and isolated. And this week, I received another letter. And this one said, "Dear Esther, my husband died in 2010. For the first year, I wanted to give up. Gradually, I picked myself up and got on with my life. It's a very busy one. But in spite of everything, I still have times when I hurt inside. No way could or would I tell my family or many friends how I feel. I don't want to upset anybody. This is my pain. I thought maybe the answer would be to ring the Silver Line, not knowing what would happen. What did happen was a friendly voice talking to me and making me feel that I'm not alone. I was able to talk openly to a complete stranger, and all the pent-up hurt I feel came pouring out. The lady listened. I felt so secure. That night, for the first time since John died, I slept well. I knew I could just pick up the phone if I was desperate. Now I feel that people care, and that's a wonderful feeling. So thank you, everyone at the Silver Line. You've really saved my sanity. Many times I wanted to give up. Now I want to go on living. I will always miss John. We had 50 years together. He would thank you." So what lesson do I draw from that? There may be people very close to you who are suffering pain that they can't admit. I want you to talk to them, be they young or old, about Childline and about the Silver Line. Free, confidential, open 24/7. Childline 0800 1111, or contactable online. The Silver Line 0800 470 80 90. And finally, a moving piece of poetry. Now that I've got such a distinguished degree, I feel I should improve your mind and mine. Mind you, your minds have already been improved by this wonderful team, but I'll improve them a little further. I'm so glad that the uni in Chester has given this honor to Esther. From now on, when anyone mocked her, she can tell them, "Trust me, I'm a doctor." Thank you very much.